Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I'm Bozer, and this is a Monday Night Geek Out Sesh. Sorry, I'm trying to do some technical difficulties on the side because, of course, it wouldn't be an FGBG episode without some technical difficulties. I was trying something a little different. I was all proud of myself for like getting some things sorted out, and turns out it's like whack-a-mole. As soon as I think I've got it down, something else will prop up because my fixes are only more problems. But how are all of you tonight? Welcome. If this is your first Geek Out Sesh, welcome. We love when fans of the guests are able to show up. So if you showed up specifically because of our guest tonight, thank you. On their behalf, I thank you. They'll be joining us in just a few minutes. But if this is your first, we do this each and every Monday night, except for the ones we don't. And we geek out with brand new geek guests, cosplayers, artists, authors, game developers, or in tonight's case, some people who are putting on a TV show. And did I mention, it's TTRPG. We're finally making it to primetime, you guys. Yes! But before we get into it, I want you to answer the QOTD, which is share your Nat 1 or Nat 20 moment from today, from the week. I was literally about to say, this is why I know I'm cursed. I was about to say my Nat 20 moment was that I got so many technical difficulties figured out on my side of the stream. And that quickly became a Nat 1 moment with a comment that I could not get rid of stuck on the screen. And you heard some of our guests during the starting soon. But if someone's ears were burning, Mr. Joshua Khan, who I know is here in the chat, the head, one of the co-hosts on Dairy Public Radio, and also the dark and terrifying face of our Cloudscape campaign. While he's not able to join us here live, he is currently in the chat, and I'm really excited for that because I'm really excited for him because this whole show, or tonight's guests, kind of started from something really exciting that he got himself involved in and connected us here at FGBG with these kind folks tonight. So thank you all for being here. My chat disappeared, so I wish I could see it. I'm sure you're all saying really, really nice things. Oh, that's what I'll put over here. Ooh, Mallory and I are dancing to the FGBG music. Nice. Can we still see it? Let's see. Can I put you up? Can I change you? There we go. Okay, now we're in the business. We're in the money. Hey, DSB, everyone's here. Okay, guys, I think I finally got back in my mojo. It took me a sec. But I really hope you've had a great week. And once again, T wishes he could join us, but he's continuing to get things settled. As you saw on our socials, he bought a house, you guys. He bought a house. Not only that, he bought a house 30 minutes from my house, meaning that we are back in person. We are back together. He might be doing things here live on the couch with me. He might be doing things from his own place because he's got a place, an entire house. It's beautiful. He's already cleaned it up and repainted some, and I'm really, really proud of him. Anybody that knows him knows that this is something that he's been really working towards for a really long time, and he's made a lot of sacrifices and worked his tail off, and he's continuing to work his tail off, hence why he's unable to be here now. But he's making forward progress, and we're all really proud of him. So please, if you haven't seen that post, go to our Instagram or Facebook and comment how proud you are of him, because I know you all are. This has been a journey that all of you have shared with us over the last 7 years, T being part of it for the last 5 or 6 at this point. And we consider you family. So thank you for being here for this, and thanks for being here tonight for the Geek Out Sesh. But without any further ado, before I hit any buttons and make it all go haywire, I want to get into tonight's Geek Out Sesh because I'm super excited. I've got a lot of questions, and we have quite the number of guests who are going to be joining us. So like I mentioned, Josh from our Cloudscape campaign, he is a Renaissance man. He is in a number of things. He's been in short films. He's been the MC of a burlesque show. He does improv. But now he's managed to take all those skills together. I'm still waiting on the burlesque. Put all those skills together, and he got himself cast in a actual play, half-hour serialized TTRPG show that's going to be basically on TV. If you are in the Quad Cities area, it's right there in your town. And we're going to hear all about it. So please join me. I want to see some emojis, and you're about to hear some applause. I added a new button. Please give it up for Brandon, Chris, Brianna, and Julian from Quest for More. Welcome, you guys.
Thanks for having us.
I will be bringing the burlesque, for the record.
Thank you. I knew somebody had to. Somebody had to on his behalf.
I'm
Let
so
me see if I can move this. How are you guys doing? Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
It is our pleasure.
I know that all of you kind of moved a lot of things around in your lives tonight to make this happen. So I'm really grateful to you. And I'm hoping that by the end of it, you're not thinking that was a giant waste of your time.
Oh,
It'll happen. I think this will be good.
Just so that we're kind of clear on who is who, let's kind of go around the circle. Tell us a little bit about who you are and briefly what your role in A Quest for Something More is.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start. I am Chris. I am the Dungeon Master. I kind of drug Brandon into my crazy side project, and he gathered up some friends, and we just decided to have a good gaming session.
Just decided to have a good gaming session, like live on TV. Sure. No big.
Yeah,
yeah, no big deal.
Yeah.
why not?
It's been done thousands of times at this point. Oh, wait, no, you are breaking new ground, and we're going to get into it. All right, so we have a Dungeon Master. Brandon, who are you, and what's your role in all this?
Yeah. Chris said it. We just kind of we got a wild hair. The station asked a bunch of us to come up with ideas for content for an app that they were putting together, and we thought, what better thing to do than get paid to play Dungeons and Dragons? So I do a lot of the behind the scenes stuff. I roped a few of my buddies from high school. I went to high school with Julian, and I did a lot of stand up and some of the burlesque events with Josh, and just thought, hey, if I'm getting to do this for fun, you guys should come along with me. And luckily they were game for it. But yeah, it's been fun ever since. It's been a lot of work trying to get everything, all the pieces to fall into place,
I can
but
only imagine.
it's been really cool.
So this is a good sign
Yeah.
for me that you've known Josh longer than I have, and you still want to continue to work with him. Good. So I won't end up in a trunk in the back of his car someday.
No, you're safe.
Okay.
Actually, one of the first, and I don't mean to well, actually, you should probably be worried a little bit. No, one of the first times
He's gonna...
duck down. No, one of the first times I got the chance to work with Josh, my wife and I, we had just gotten engaged, and we were planning on doing like a roast event. And one of the guys backed out, and we thought, hey, Josh, you've only known us for about a week. Would you like to hop in and roast us? And he's like, absolutely. And he came in and he slaughtered us. He was amazing. And then, funny enough, shortly after that, our wedding came up, and the guy that was supposed to, officiate our wedding backed out. And I was like, okay, what do we do now? But the guy said, don't worry, I have the perfect guy to officiate your wedding. And it was Josh.
I told you, Renaissance man.
Yeah, he does it all.
Jinx.
Hey.
He just says yes. Like, he takes that improv idea of yes and applies it to every aspect of his life. including saying yes to come
Right.
hang out with us on FGBG with Cloudscape. Whenever we post those episodes, by the way, there's more coming, by the way. No, we love him here on the show, and that's every time I hear more about him, my crush grows larger.
Understandably so. He's an awesome friend. He's an awesome improviser, and yeah, I would highly recommend him in whatever you've got going on in your life, whether it's getting married or playing Dungeons and Dragons or burlesque. He's really good at making the tassels. He's really good at that.
Oh, he's not shared that skill with me, but can't wait to find out more. Brianna, tell us about who are you, and what do you do on the show?
Hello. Yeah, I'm the absolute newbie here. I know nothing about probably anything. I've worked with a couple of these guys. I worked with Chris and Brandon a little while ago, and I saw Brandon kind of posting about these crazy ideas. And for context, I live like 3 hours away from these guys now. And so I was like, he, was asking around like who would be interested, and I'm like, I've got nothing to do on Saturdays. And so they get back to me and they're like, hey, you're in, buddy. And I'm like, what did I just sign up for? But no, it's been a lot of fun just learning and getting to know Julian and Josh a lot more. And just getting to see what I've been invited to so many years before that I've been missing out on. And I think it's really exciting. The viewers that don't know anything, just like I don't know anything, they get to learn alongside with me, which is cool. Just getting to know more about anything involving, Dungeons and Dragons, fantasy life, role playing, improv, on the fly, TV show stuff.
So then, when you say newbie to this world, you haven't played D&D or any TTRPG before. You haven't done any improv.
Correct. I've done a little bit of theater back in high school, but nothing crazy. I can read a script. That's about all I got for you. Yeah.
On an improv
Dive into the
TV
deep
show.
end.
D&D or Pathfinder at that. We'll get into it. Good. I got questions for you. You're about to be the inspiration of the night. But let's meet our fourth member tonight. Mr. Julian, tell us a little bit about you and what you do on the show.
Hi. First of all, I love this little Brady Bunch thing that we've all got going on here with everybody. We've figured out how to point at each other on screen, so
that is
I think that works out pretty well. It really is. I've known Mr. Gale here for quite some time. It's been a long time through many ups and downs, and this is a new arena for me. I've been playing TTRPGs since college. I listen to a lot of actual play. I have a dungeon in my own house that we've been playing at for years.
You want to add to that, or are you just going to leave it? You have a dungeon in your house.
Well, it's we set up we used to have a place that we could play. And my group of anywhere between on any given week, 4 to 11 friends. There's too many people at our table.
That's too many.
The guy who was, I can't say no. The guy who was hosting moved. He moved far away. And so he gave me all of the stuff that we were using for his game. So we found a way to fit it into my basement, which is already poorly lit. And has a concrete floor and is not very well climate controlled. And so we just put up a bunch of minis and a TV that we can use to change maps.
Yeah, that's
as our base and a Dungeon Master screen. And we said, screw it, we're going to town here in my basement. And my wife hates it. But you know what? That's part of the thrill of the game. I feel like is annoying your spouse and also roping in your kids. I will say my oldest son got a group of his friends together, started playing in our basement as well. So we are passing on the juice to the next generation. It's like the end of Stranger Things. Spoiler alert, right? The next generation's coming into. I'm sorry if you haven't seen the end of Stranger Things. It's fine. But yeah, we're passing every single one of them, and then they get resurrected. And don't get me started because my wife has a theory about this, how like the school colors are wrong and
Yes.
there's things that are
Yes.
No.
Yes, move out of the way.
I
Get
was
your
trying-
wife. Get your wife on stream. We need to talk.
she needs to go out and put this on the internet. So I'm like, you're right about everything. Why are
conformity
you
gay.
not pushing? No, it's fine. It's not fine. Anyway, it's not the point. But no, I've known Brandon for a long time, and he knew I was a tabletop RPGer. It's oddly enough the thing I'm least well known for locally, and yet I'm hoping that this gets big enough that it becomes the biggest thing that I'm known for.
Well, now I'm curious about what you're most well known for locally.
Well, he used to play with Joe Manganiello. That's what it was. That was the person that left.
My daughter introduces me as Taylor Swift's boyfriend's brother's former backup. So I was a Philadelphia Eagle for 5 years, and I backed up Jason Kelsey, and so every time Taylor Swift shows up on screen, my daughter loses her mind.
Because clearly you are best friends with Taylor Swift in that way. You're going to the
Of
wedding.
course, yeah, we're
You going to the wedding?
in separation. Taylor Swift, so yeah.
Well, let us know when you get that invite.
I will. You know what? If I get the invite, I'm making copies, and you're all getting one.
Yes. They're gonna be like
good.
water stamped. They're gonna have to check it in a UV light just to make sure. Anyway, I think are we off track? I think we're off track. We're talking about
I thought this was the track.
this is classic D&D. Brianna, just take notes. This is D&D if you haven't played that much. But this is a quest for something more. And I'm going to plug this multiple times throughout the show. But you can find it at our Quad Cities Plus app or on Roku and Fire Stick, which I'm told is now live on Roku and Fire Stick. So you can watch their first episode while watching them talk about the first episode here live on the internet. It's Inception.
Our QT.
But no, this is the most D&D group I've ever seen. Like you always have the wizened dungeon master who's been playing 3.5 and refuses anything else. You have the newbie, you have the local celebrity. And what's Brandon? How do you fit into that? What's your trope, Brandon?
I'm the behind the scenes troll.
You're the rules lawyer. You're the one that like made all of our dungeon rooms work.
I'm just the eye in the sky. I keep the cameras going, and I make sure that the camera's on the right action at the right time, and everybody shows up at the dungeon to play on time, and everybody's ready to go.
Wait, can I hire you for my home games to get everyone to show up?
You got it.
Perfect. Okay, let me know your rates afterward.
Do I get do I get like a taser or a whistle or anything? Or
Anything
just
you want.
by
No holds barred.
you guys heard it. You guys heard it.
Yeah. So, okay, talk to us about how this idea even started, because I think this is super exciting, the idea that an actual live play TTRPG show is available on streaming, but it's done in like a new studio there in the Quad Cities, and it's basically D&D on TV, which is like a future, something we've all hoped for. But how did this all start, this idea of a quest for something more?
Christian,
Well, yep, I'll go ahead and start this off. Basically, we had a work meeting where they were talking about rolling out this app, and they were asking people for ideas. And I am very much out of the box. So I know that working in the news environment, they're going to be coming up with sports clips, news clips, crime stories. It's all going to be very run-of-the-mill. It's going to be, in my opinion, nothing I will watch, because I'm just not that much into watching the news after spending all day watching the news.
And so many of us are burnt out on the
nothing
news
against
anyway.
any of it. Yeah. So I wanted to do something entertaining, and instead of just being run-of-the-mill, because out of the box, crazy person here, I look at Brandon after this meeting and I say, I have some great ideas. I've spent 20 years collecting minis. I have like a giant stack of maps. I'm like, if we can throw a camera on these maps and these minis, we can make something out of it for this show. Because in our studio, we have an overhead camera that just shoots right down onto the map as we play. So this was just kind of my crazy idea of, hey, can we pull this off? And like I said, I look at Brandon after the meeting and I'm like, let's try this. Do you have any ideas? You know, would you be willing to try this even? And he was willing, and I'll let him speak his own words from there.
Yeah, I was very excited to do anything, like you said, that wasn't news. And of course, maybe Dungeons and Dragons wouldn't have been my first pursuit, but the fact that that was what kind of came, and zero offense to Dungeons and Dragons, I'm merely speaking from a lack of experience with Dungeons and Dragons.
We'll let it pass.
A lot like Brianna. Okay. Because a lot like Brianna, my experience with Dungeons and Dragons is very limited. I've done stage plays and stand up and all sorts of other improv events, but Dungeons and Dragons I was very limited with. But once Chris threw that out as an option, I was like, yeah, let's see this through. I did a little bit of research on other shows like Critical Role, and just thought, like, what do we have at the station that could possibly, bring this to fruition, and make this a reality for ourselves. And luckily, we had the time, we had the space, and we had a bunch of friends that were willing to hop in on the idea with us. And so we took a little bit of time, came up with a background story. Chris and one of our behind the scenes guys, Karen McGrath, put together the story, and Julian, Brianna, Gavin Wadlick, and our buddy Josh all kind of came up with their own characters and came to the battle ready and willing to fight.
No, I think
one thing
Oh, sure, go ahead. Go ahead, Chris.
Sorry. But one thing I would like to add is in the case of Brianna, since she was a new player, there was of course concern with, lack of familiarity with the product, so to speak. So I did everything I could to make it as easy on her as possible with character generation and things like that. And basically I just looked at her and I said, what do you want to do? And she was like, I want to do origami, which is something that I have never found in any book anywhere. So I reached out to a third party and had a custom school, the School of Parchment, made for her by Samurai Sheepdog.
Nice.
And what we've done with that is like she has, for example, because this is fun, she has a paper airplane attack spell. So she just makes the paper airplane and throws it at people.
Sick. See, that is so D&D, Brianna. You don't even know. That is like past beginner level status. That's already like, I'm bored of the typical attacks. How can I mix this up? You're already there.
Well, they were like, are you sure you want to do this build? It's pretty advanced. And I'm like, yes, I do. And they're like, but are you like, sure you're sure? And I'm like, I don't know, we'll figure it out. It can only go wrong, right? And so far it's going okay. There's only been a couple tears.
But my thought is, like, I'm sure that all of you realize what a cool opportunity this is. Because Brandon, you mentioned Critical Role earlier, and all of us who are fans of the show, I'm a critter. It's really like the first thing that I started listening to when I was like curious about Critical Role or about D&D, and that kind of sold me. I'm like, wait, this is what D&D is? And you guys are getting a chance to bring that same kind of experience to the masses in a really accessible way. But the thing about like Critical Role and Dimension 20 that all of us watch, and which is why we try to create dungeons in our basement, is because we will never have that physical experience with all the cameras and the mics and the crew. You guys are starting out with it. What the hell?
It really is unfair. It is unfair. And we know that this is a completely new for us. It's completely new for a lot of people. And we're trying not to take it for granted. So we're trying to have fun with it, trying to keep it interesting. And I think Brianna is a perfect fit for this because, we want this to be available, or we want it to be accessible for people that have played before, that haven't played before, which is why throughout the show, you're going to see lower thirds that have a little bit of, a little more information, a little more description of like, hey, just in case you don't know what this role is or what they're doing right now, here's a little behind the scenes, or this is how the donuts are made, essentially. And trying to have fun with it. And I want people that have been playing for 20, 30 years to enjoy the show, but I also want people that have never played before and who have been kind of nervous to ask anybody to teach them how to play before. I want them to be comfortable enough to like dip a toe in and kind of check it out for themselves.
Yeah.
And I feel like we do a pretty good job of that.
That's a huge part, and I'm glad that like people like Brianna are part of the show, because like anybody who's played D&D, especially with somebody brand new to D&D, knows there is no magic like taking somebody through their first campaign and watching that imagination and excitement and them just kind of fall into the character in that way. There's nothing like it. So I'm glad you're there, Brianna. Do you feel that imposter syndrome, or are you like leaning into the fact that, yeah, I'm the newbie, bring it on?
The first day that we were there, I definitely was freaked out. I was like, I don't know what I got myself into, because we sit down, and at first I'm like, okay, I think I kind of know what's going on. We go into the room, everybody sits down, and everybody's asking me all these questions. What's this? What did you do for this? What is your this? And I'm just kind of looking at them like, yep. And they're like, no, we're asking questions. Like, I don't know anything. I really don't. So our first day, I was terrified. It got a lot better by the time we got in for day 2. And I'm definitely leaning into it a little bit more. There's definitely things I'm learning every 5 minutes, but it's a lot less intimidating once you actually sit down and kind of start doing it. The setup is terrifying, and learning everything right away off the bat, especially with plenty of veterans in the room. You kind of just have to sit and listen and then see where you can kind of interject yourself, which is fun.
Yeah, I'm sure that's intimidating. Like for Julian, so as one of the seasoned players in the show, walk us through what was the process like preparing for this? Like, and then what was that first session like?
So I think the hardest thing about this was the consideration that it was for entertainment. I think all of us who've played for a long time, any tabletop RPG, if it's Dungeons and Dragons, Pathfinder, Delta Green, like whatever your thing is, we all sit down at the table, and at some point in time, someone does something or says something, and you think, oh man, that was the funniest thing that's ever happened. Like, I wish we'd gotten that on tape. I wish we, man, we should do a podcast about this. Like, we should do. Like, we're so entertaining and so funny.
We're all podcasters all of a sudden.
Spontaneous. We all feel like it, but at the same time, like, we're not. Half of that is so inappropriate that you couldn't put it on TV, right? This is something that we came into it knowing we were making something for mass consumption, for television effectively. And so there was an element, I know, going into it for me of, what is entertaining, right? Not just what do I want to do, but what is entertaining. That learning journey. Like, I love that Brianna is able to come with this as, on a journey from being a newbie. I chose a class and a race that I've never played before, just to kind of get a little bit of that same sort of, hey, we're all in this learning together sort of thing. We're going to make mistakes, we're going to say things or do things that maybe are out of character while we find who these characters are.
Right.
And you could really feel that. You sit down a lot of the times at tables and everybody there. And not having played with anybody at the table before, like to Brianna's point, a lot of us were asking some very detailed questions that veteran players ask. But once the game started, you have that kind of new person. We're all together, like feeling each other out. sort of energy. By the end of the first day, it was like, okay, this, we're starting to feel each other. And by the time we were done on the second day, it felt like we'd been playing together for years. So I think that kind of growth through the first couple of episodes is what I'm most looking forward to. I think we've only had to bleep me one time. So I'm hopeful that we can keep that number fairly low, because I use the F word like a comma in my daily life. And this has been a real challenge to keep it PG-13. Oh God, it's tough.
So kind of one of the things that Julian just said there was none of us had ever gamed together before.
Right.
So that was kind of that was actually something that I planned out. I wanted a newbie. I wanted somebody that knew nothing about the game. So Brianna, she got stuck.
Wow, you drew the short straw. Let's throw a terrified person.
As if I didn't, ask for this,
It was kind of when Brandon and I sat down and he was like, well, what do you want to do for people? And I'm like, I don't want people I know. I want people that, I want one person that's new and has never played. And he found Brianna, and she was, I don't know why she picked the wizard, but she picked the wizard, and I wasn't going to tell her no. I just warned her ahead of time. You have a lot of reading coming.
Strong choice right off the gate.
So squishy. So squishy.
So why was that? Why did you want a cast of people you did not know?
It just makes for better new group cohesiveness. I had a feeling it would look better on camera with nobody knowing each other. Like he just said, with that whole, you can watch everybody get together and start to form a party as you watch through the first few episodes. You can watch Brianna learn how to be a mage. So it was kind of just I wanted to make good TV.
And so on that note of making good TV, because like Julian mentioned, anybody that's played a TTRPG is used to just playing in a basement or playing virtually with people, mostly the people that you know, and it doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth. It doesn't matter what the story goes. You can take 13 sessions to do a shopping episode, and as long as everyone's having a good time, that's great. But this is for TV, and I imagine that you had a certain number of episodes you had to be limited to, and you're doing it in half-hour sessions. I did an hour-long session with some kids today at school, and that felt way too short. I don't know how you would pack it in. So as a GM, what kind of things are happening in the background to make sure that you are ready to kind of steer this or create TV-ready storytelling in 30 minutes?
Well, I guess my greatest advantage is I'm very improv related. Even though I've never done any professional improv or anything like that, I've always, after running enough games for enough years and having players just completely crash my ideas, I eventually just stopped coming up with ideas. And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to let the players run the game. I'm going to just build the story as they go. And that was a real trick unto itself, was really learning how to do that, because that pushed all of my experience to its maximum with that. Just always being able to constantly flow with everything everybody brings at me. And, I haven't had a lot of gamers play with me over the years. I've always been kind of I don't go to a lot of conventions. I don't have a lot of friends beyond the ones that are around me. And so my games are usually small. And just after enough years, I've always sought new players. Every now and then I get a new player. I just get new ideas from them. They challenge me in new ways, and I learn new methods to improv with so that I can always stay ahead of each player. That's always my goal, is to just stay in front of everything they're doing.
So how does that translate to TV? Is that the same kind of method that you're bringing into this? It's almost like more player run, and you're kind of reacting to whatever they're doing? Because I imagine that you have to have almost more of a trajectory because it's for TV.
Well, I have the cheapest way to explain it is I have a skeleton that I follow.
Yeah.
And from there, I just base each idea like the way I've mapped it out in my head is I call each gaming session a day. So each day I plan out, this is what's going to happen, quote, today. So I'm going to have the first session was in a tavern. So I had my idea of day one, they're going to be in the throne room for a couple of minutes, and then they're going to go to the tavern, and that's where introductions are going to go. And then, some things are going to happen in the tavern, and that would end day one. And that would be our first recording session. So I just planned out how a day one was going to run. And then same thing for our second session, also known as day two.
I can't read that. Your ring light. What does it say?
Brianna's camera is drunk.
Being bullied.
Terrible.
Typical bully the one girl in the room. I see.
Wow, the one new to TTRPGs, the one girl. I'm not going to get canceled for this episode at all.
Exactly. We've got our bases covered.
So then,
if I could kind of,
yes, that's exactly what I was going to come to you. I want to know from the players, like on your end, and feel free to chime in on whatever you're about to say and answer this question. On your end, like especially as the seasoned D&D player, is there anything that you're doing differently as a player because it's TV, except not say the F-bomb?
Oh, 100%. 100%. That's the most, it's infuriating, but it's also fun. I think you want so badly when it's your games to like protect your character. You want to have your character level up. You don't want them to die, right? Sometimes it's very emotional when you get character death. And so you make certain decisions around that are survival based. And the decisions in this have to be entertainment based, I think. And first of all, I love that Chris and Perrin created a world that is super, super lore heavy. I'm a big lore guy. And I love digging into the details and the countries and the genealogies and, the capitals and the history of the world and everything. So they've got this great skeleton for us to work within. And then as a player, I feel like in your personal games, if you're really experienced and if you know the GM, this is even better if you know the GM, you are constantly trying to thwart the GM, right? You're in a tavern, a couple of armed guys walk in, and you know that the GM is thinking, okay, these guys are here to stir up trouble. You're going to get into a fight with them. Something's going to happen. In your basement game, you go, cool, I'm going to go make best friends with the goblin in drag in the far side of the room. And then we're going to get into, we're going to start a burlesque show. I knew I'd work it in. We're going to start a burlesque show on the stage, and we're going to talk to these armored guys who walked in. Like, we're not even going to acknowledge that they exist just to piss off the DM who's prepared this whole thing. Like, this is more, my character is a little bit squishy, but it's way funnier if he goes up and spills his drink on these armored guys and then climbs up on a table to defend his rat buddy and then tries to do like a flying WWE elbow onto their wizard who's just trying to like stay out of the fight. Like, you're trying to kind of generate a little bit of this of a little bit of silliness and wonkiness and something that pushes the story forward a little bit. And so I think there's some considerations with that you wouldn't see in a normal game, but it makes it more fun because you're trying to do things that are maybe a little bit out of character. I'm sure for somebody who's new, sometimes it feels a little weird. I don't know, Brianna, you tell me.
It's definitely difficult trying to just come up with something on my own, at least for those first couple hours. But it definitely gets easier to find your place and what other people are doing, which is awesome. Like if everybody just looked at me and they're like, okay, what are you doing? You're starting off everything. I'm like, I couldn't tell you, but if somebody else starts me off, I can definitely keep up with the crowd, which is nice. Just finding where I fit in is great.
But that's
from an outside perspective too, like watching the show. Exactly. But like watching the show happen in real time, it was kind of interesting watching Josh and Julian and Gavin, for that matter, experienced players kind of just go with it. Like they're like they saw the bag and they went for the tackle. This is the best way I can describe it. They knew that they had to come out with a voice for their character. They had to come out with a personality for their character. And Brianna was just, I think my person might want to get something to drink.
That's a personality. That's a strong choice.
Exactly. So at first you could tell she was very timid and didn't want to make a fool out of herself. And the other boys in the room were like, that's part of this. You have to make a fool out of yourself. Join us. And you could see it kind of wash over her, like, okay, this is the natural progression of things. Like, this is the way it's supposed to be. So it was kind of cool to watch that happen in real time.
Oh, and let me tell you, if you have never played, you might not believe that Brianna has not played, because I think we take stuff for granted who have played for a long time. Like, I can't remember the last time I considered spell components in anything. Right? It's like, it doesn't, you have enough gold for the spell components, you have the spell components, yeah, blah, blah, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, first thing she does, she's like scraping at a table with like a coin or something to create sawdust in order to create this spell, because it's like the paper, magic is in like the sawdust, and we're just like, that is such a cool thing. Why'd you do that? Which is like, well, the paper says my spell component is sawdust. So like, that's crazy.
I'm following the rule.
Oh, hey, are you out of your mind? So I didn't just those little details in the way that she works that stuff in, and not having the experience to where we just kind of go, we're going to hand wave this. And she's like, no, I'm going to make this a story moment. And it's freaking cool.
I love that. That's so cool, Brianna. You follow the rules of a game, and all of us who just gave up on that so long ago, we applaud you.
Honestly, I just try to visualize, like, what would I want to see if I was actually watching the animated shows of something. What would I want to be seeing somebody's character doing? Just like casually, just like, I've cast a spell, or like the progression of making said spell to make it funny or dumb or serious or whatever it needs to be. That's kind of how I think is the theatrics of everything else.
Yeah, especially
I can't
for a wizard
speak well, but I can make things around me happen.
That's cool. There's your personality right there. Like, for a wizard that's currently in school, like wanting to do things by the book. Yeah. It's just same way as a new player that's playing for the first time, wanting to do things by the book. That's awesome. But you guys mentioned about the fact that, like, playing the first time, after a little bit of time, you kind of felt like you got into a role with things. What did session 0 look like? Like, what did you guys prep just socially to make sure that you guys had a good, like, camera test? We're on TV. How did you guys figure that kind of thing out?
I think actually players avoid speaking.
Gavin may have known each other.
Yeah, I think we'd met in passing once or twice. Like, I knew of Gavin, so that was helpful. Yeah. And obviously I knew Chris and Brandon. Everybody else was totally new to me, so I kind of walked in like,
Chris, you were saying?
I wanted to, I basically avoided any session 0. My co-world builder, Perrin, he was like, let's all have everybody get together and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no, I want the freshness. I want it to be, these people were thrown together by chance. And I want them to all have that feeling.
Go with.
So as their characters are getting to know each other and learning about each other, it's actually happening in real time at the table.
Yeah. Right.
Cool.
That was my goal.
So how many episodes are we talking? Is this like, we'll see how many we get, or do you know that the story has to begin and end in like 10 episodes?
I told them in the beginning that this is something that could go forever. Literally, I said it could go forever. I'm like, I can end it whenever you guys want me to, or I can keep it going. I can make a different season where we go to a different part of the world. We can change players. We can change characters. If, somebody doesn't want to play anymore, we'll find someone who does. But that's the versatility of with everything I'm working with is we've got this expansive world that I'm ready to just kind of go farther with if we're allowed to. So each season will have its own encompassing story. But I wasn't given an episode limit, so
Go with.
And I gotta
dealer's
imagine
choice, I guess.
that kind of influenced the way that you're building the story and built this world, as opposed that if you knew you had to do this thing beginning to end in 10 episodes,
Go with.
what kind of changes would you have made that we're not seeing in the show now?
Well, originally somebody, and it had to have been a miscommunication, but originally somebody said something that got to my ear that made it sound like we were only going to have 13 episodes to work with. And I'm like, okay, I will gear this up and I will make things happen faster then, you know? So I will push the story is what I'll do rather than let it flow. Because right now, as I let it flow, I can just make up side quests as we go to, one, fill space, and two, just make things exciting, you know?
Some variety.
I started to plan out loosely a holiday adventure that, you know, maybe someday we'll get to do for Christmas.
Okay.
Or some other holiday. I don't necessarily have it anchored to any one specific holiday. I just have a lot of weird minis that can fit a lot of different holidays.
Okay.
So I look for ideas and inspiration in some of the things I just have around me just the same.
You're just dumping the like Christmas ornaments.
I'm
onto the
looking
table.
forward to the Romspringer. So,
Which is also, I think, a Midwest thing.
Romspringer?
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that a Utah thing?
That's a Amish thing. Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
Amish, not the. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more like Ohio.
I am in the thick of Amish country, so I get you. Brandon, as the person that it sounds like is responsible if this thing flops or succeeds, do you feel what kind of
No
pressure, like not to like put any pressure, but like, I guess I'm asking on behalf of all of us that love D&D and TTRPGs and Pathfinder and play it, but there's no stakes, right? Like the most stakes that any of us really get to are if we stream it onto YouTube or Twitch and our view count is low that day. Like that's not studio space you're taking up. It's not supervisors of the entire channel that are like looking into your numbers. What's that process like, and what is that kind of shift for the show?
Well, just the tiniest bit of backstory on me. I feel like I was raised by TV. You know, I was raised by Alf and watching Tales from the Crypt and stuff. I like good TV. I like to be entertained, and whether you like Dungeons and Dragons or not, there's something in Dungeons and Dragons for everybody. You know, whether you like the story building or the character development, or even just the camaraderie of getting to know the people that you're at the table with, which is also why I kind of dig the fact that we got the players that we did, because there was no inside jokery going on. You know, it was kind of any inside jokes, the audience is
Part of it.
You know, they're in on it. Yeah,
that's cool.
Exactly. I think that would kind of take some of the mystique out of it if Josh and Julian, you know, already had, you know, a bunch of inside jokes and they were giggling and nobody else knew what the hell was going on, you know. So I like that everybody's getting to know each other at the same time, and I think that's indicative of good TV, is when you can kind of follow the story from the jump, from ground zero to the end. And I feel like we're doing a really good job of making that happen and telling that story.
But do you have any like standards that you have to hit, or like benchmarks, like especially as this app launches and the show? And if this is the wrong question to ask in front of the cast and crew, then I will take it back.
Heads are gonna roll. I tell you that much. No, I haven't been given any, standards or anything like that, or numbers that I have to hit. It's we're very lucky in the fact that we're kind of pioneers of this for the station for this app. So we kind of get to set the standard. So I really I take pride in that too, because we're doing a really good job. Everybody's coming together when I need them to be coming together. I need a good team, and I feel like we've kind of put that in place. So I feel really good about the future for the show and possible seasons to follow.
I'm just astounded because, like, let me get on a soapbox for a second. In our capitalistic society, especially where entertainment is just like how much money we can milk out of the viewers and advertisers, the fact that a news station would give up the studio space for a Saturday for a number of time for people to come together and play D&D with nobody breathing down your necks. Did I just hear hope in the future for all of us as humans? Like, honestly, like, this feels like such a grander step in this microcosm of this one show, but I'm hoping that this does kind of catch flame and maybe some other stations take note, because I know those stations are not booked 24/7 and we could be using them to make some D&D, people.
Absolutely. And the bonus to our app is that it falls under the Nexstar umbrella, which means that any other Nexstar station that has their own app, they could possibly be playing our show on their app, and we could be playing their shows on our app. So it gives a nice opportunity to kind of, shake hands across the aisle for other states and other parts of the country to kind of see what we've got going on. And hopefully that does inspire, some D&D players in other parts of the country to go, you know what, we should take the opportunity to do what they were doing in the Quad City and kind of keep this going.
Yeah, like, I guess I'm trying to tamper my, like, blind optimism, but also it's very difficult because this is so exciting to me. Like, Chris, I'm failing to find the right words for the question, to be honest.
We did it.
You did it. Like, honestly.
We practiced.
Like, you did it. This is wild. This really feels like the next step of entertainment. Like, we're all watching the stuff on our phones. It's not a mainstream social app. It's specific to, like, your syndication, it sounds like, and other relative news stations within the syndicate can also air that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's putting it in your pocket. Brianna, do you know how big this is for you? This could be your big break.
Hopefully,
did anybody level with you before you started this?
Well, fortunately, they've put me on that TV over at that station a handful more times. So hopefully I get a little more famous than putting a bald cap on and running around the studio like a silly goose.
Oh my God.
Oh, I want to talk about
a little backstory to that. We put a bald cap on her and dressed her up like Pitbull, and it was fantastic.
That's it. I'm moving to the Quad Cities.
That was my peak.
This news station.
And then I hosted a spelling bee.
As Pitbull?
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
It took me a moment to find how they related. Of course. Why wouldn't Pitbull or a woman dressed as Pitbull lead a spelling bee?
There's
if this gets bigger than that moment, I'll be happy.
Dale, spell Mississippi.
Okay, well, that leads me to this question. Do you think this is a Quad Cities thing? Like, is Quad Cities, like, that area just that cool that you can get away with this or is this something bigger?
Honestly, as far as I've seen, I think that area is just so conducive to having more fun. And not that other places don't want to have fun, but
We don't want
now that I'm in Missouri, I talk about it's just so different, the demographic. Like, I come down here and I talk about, oh, we've done this, we've done that with my, being up there, and they kind of look at me like, you were allowed to do those things on TV? And you're still allowed to do them? So I think it's just a nice, like, I think anybody's capable of doing these kinds of things, but I think the Quad Cities specifically is just so creative, and the community there is just so open to people doing literally anything. So I think it's just, we got a good spot to start off this kind of thing, because I feel like if we had a bigger city or a big different area, I don't think it would have gone as far as it already has, and I think we have an awesome opportunity here.
It sounds like it. Like, I'm really jealous, honestly. Like, I'm thinking, okay, how do I pitch this to our news stations? I might know a couple people. Maybe they'd give me some time. But it sounds like you're a different beast out there, and I hope that's not the case. I hope it's not just because it's Quad Cities, because I'd love to see this catch on. Now, you don't know anything about numbers yet, like how well it was taken, because your first episode just aired tonight.
Yes, right. Yeah. No, as we went live here, we got news that our first episode hit the app on demand. They have like a live stream portion of the app, but you can go on there, search our first episode, and play it whenever you feel the urge. But yeah, no, I really do think that the Quad Cities is kind of coming up on a boom. Like, we're just getting news now that they're going to be building a film soundstage here within the Quad Cities within the next year.
Nice.
And so they're looking to experience some of the film runoff that Chicago is kind of passing our way, and Des Moines is passing our way. We are the little brother that gets the hand-me-downs, essentially, but I feel like we're in a good space to kind of take the ball and run with it. And I think that's coming up here very soon. And I want to say that we're kind of riding the first parts of that wave.
Well, I hope it's not just a wave and it continues. As we're kind of wrapping up tonight, what I'm curious about, and I want to hear from each of you, and it doesn't have to be the same answer, doesn't have to make sense to anybody but you, but I'm curious about, as people are watching the show, what are you hoping that they take away from it? Let's start with you, Chris.
Well, for me, as the DM, all right, the main thing that I'm hoping that they will take from it is that Dungeons and Dragons can be fun. We're having some good laughs. We are putting jokes into our show that not just like Brandon's putting some nice little lower thirds, little messages across the bottom where there's jokes. So we've got some, replayability in there. You're not going to want to watch it just once. You might miss a joke. But so we're just hoping that, it's just something new and fresh, and, I don't know. It's kind of overwhelming because it's all so much. Like, none of us have ever made a TV show before. We are.
I imagine. That's a very honest answer. Like, I don't know. We're just doing it. We're going to find out what happens. Okay, what about you?
I'm excited.
Yeah, I think, man, it is a really good question. I'm kind of interested to see the flood of people that come from the show that, again, knew nothing of D&D, but used our show to kind of dip a toe in and find out that D&D is like Wu-Tang said, for the children. I think everybody deserves a spot at the table, and I think everybody's gonna watch the show and kind of. I'm contractually obligated to bring up Wu-Tang Clan in any interview. Um, but yeah, no, I think our show is going to be a nice little what do you want to call it? A divining rod. It's going to be a nice little bring everybody together over their love of D&D.
All right, and Mr. Worldwide.
You know, I think Brandon kind of took a little bit of my answer, but I do hope that people really take into accord that it can be for everybody. You know, it doesn't just have to be for the nerds, you know, or there's not a stereotype of kids that got picked on in high school, just boys who hang out in their basement. Like, sure, those things do happen, but I think there's a space for everybody, and making yourself uncomfortable to be comfortable, I think, is really important, especially like with me. This isn't something I would have just done on my own accord. I don't love meeting new people, and I don't love putting myself out there and making myself uncomfortable. But at the same time, I really do love all of those things. And I think everybody's seeing that either through me, and then seeing, you know, how all of us grow together as time goes on. I think other people hopefully are inspired to go be a part of different communities that they don't typically find themselves in.
And how many episodes have you shot, by the way?
We've done two.
Say that one more time.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Oh, gotcha. So we've only gotten together to film twice, but in those two filming sessions, we filmed for about 3 to 4 hours each. So we take those and kind of splice them up into episodes, and now I believe we're sitting at about 7 episodes.
Nice. So after we get hooked after watching tonight live on Roku or Fire Stick, or soon to be on our Quad Cities app, then we've got a lot more coming. All right, Julian,
Yes.
bring us home.
Yeah, there are plenty more in the chamber.
Okay. I hope that this ignites in people a desire to try the thing that they're afraid to try, to take it somewhere. Like you mentioned earlier, I do think, you know, I don't want to go on a Brennan Lee Mulligan style rant against capitalism or anything like that, but it is very, very difficult to find anything anymore that it's hard to find anything that isn't money oriented. And Brianna mentioned, if this was done in a bigger city, I think you'd already have people either putting the kibosh on it because they didn't think it made enough money, or trying to figure out how to get the right people in the right space with the right story and the right characters to make money out of it. Like, it would be such a monetary thing. And you know, it's like you have your Glass Cannon Network and Critical Role and all these things that have all these Patreon, you know, subscriptions and all these different things, and it all seems to come back around at the end of the day to, can someone make a living doing this? And we have an opportunity to take something that was stigmatized for a long time and do something that Chris Pine in Hollywood couldn't do, and hopefully make it kind of cool and kind of mainstream, and do it in a way that isn't you know, money hungry. And I think that there's a lot of people who have a lot of really cool ideas, that have a lot of really unique ideas that should be out there in the creative sphere at a time when AI is rapidly encroaching on what is actually art. Like, go out and make art. Go to your local TV station and pitch the ideas that you have, right? Get online and do the weird thing, as they say, right? And I think we're a bunch of weird people doing a weird thing, not because we're making money doing it, but because we want it, because it's weird, and because we like it, and we want to put that out into the world, and make something. And I think that if you're creating, if you're making, you're advancing society in some way. So I hope that whoever sees this and goes, that was a little awkward, right? And a little weird, but I liked it. Cool. Take your awkward, weird thing and go find some other people and do it with them and make it too. So that's what I hope this puts out into the world.
Incredible. I really commend all of you, especially Chris and Brandon, for putting your heads together and saying yes to this, and then bringing amazing people like Brianna and Julian and Josh, and who's the fourth?
Gavin.
Gavin. I didn't want to leave his name out of this. And all of, and
Don't forget about Pitbull.
And
Perrin. And don't forget Perrin.
oh my God, what happens if I make this big? Oh, nothing.
Oh yes.
Oh my god!
Oh my God, is that-
I've never escaping this man.
Rihanna's Pitbull. That's it right there.
Oh yeah.
Oh, she's got the
That's
classics within reach at all times. That's
Oh yeah.
amazing.
They gotta be ready. They are always on standby.
I think your character on A Quest for Something More needs to find music and just spread it throughout the entire world.
She'll shave her head.
realm
and
wide.
She'll make a little paper mustache that she'll stick on with tape,
Yes,
and nobody else will get it
an
except for
origami mustache.
Quad Cities exclusives.
Yes.
I was gonna say, if you
Exactly.
use your magic origami book, it'll become a real mustache when you put it on your face.
There you go.
Just saying.
Mr. Realm Wide.
I don't
Mr.
know. I don't know his pips about that, but I'm down for that. We'll bring it back. I'll loop the bit in somehow. It'll come in.
Well, you guys, thank you so much for joining me tonight and sharing this amazing endeavor that you're all going on together for the first time, not knowing much about each other. And those at home, please go check this out. Just at least check it out. You can find it out at our Quad Cities Plus app. You can find it on Roku. Again, it's A Quest for Something More. And I've been dropping the command in the chat throughout the night, and I'll have the link below of their Instagram, so you can go there for updates and those kinds of things. And I'll kind of add more links to this video on the YouTube and podcast as those become available, as this thing is literally happening in real time. And from the bottom of my heart, I feel like when people with money give you this opportunity to make this and give you the space and the news station and the resources, it's our duty as fans of this to support it, to at least go watch it and comment and tell people about it, because the more that happens, the more it becomes accessible for all of us. And then we can all have our own D&D TV show at our local news station, which is really the goal.
You're
here.
supposed to take the rich white man's money. You're supposed to do that.
That's how capitalism is supposed to function.
Is it not?
Yep.
Is it? What's Brendan Lee Mulligan say? Is it not?
Eat the rich.
But guys, thank you so much. This has been awesome. You guys have been amazing. I can't believe that you basically just met not that long ago. I want to do a touch base a year from now when the show is booming and it's the #1 seller and they've changed the whole app just to base your show. I want to do a touch base again. Can we do that?
For sure.
Absolutely.
I will clear my schedule. I'm in.
Perfect.
Let me know.
All of you at home, thank you for joining us on tonight's Geek Out Sesh. Again, come back next week. We keep this up. We're going to make some new friends and find amazing other geeky things to support and to get excited about. But until next time, I am Bozer. Let's go in a circle. Who are you?
I am Chris.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Julian.
And you just keep,
Same time.
everyone say geeking out. Geeking out.
Geek
Get out.
Bye-bye.